Hello, and welcome to another crappy production of Drawing with Trav. Today I'm going to give you some quick sort of line or drawing exercises that will hopefully help you build that dexterity and muscle memory needed to get better and better at drawing. Just different things that I've learned over the years that help to practice and hopefully become better at drawing as you do them. They're not super exciting, but it's work. And like anything, initially it's a little bit like digging ditches when you're first learning something, but they definitely help as you learn how to draw. Biggest thing about drawing with me is learning to be confident versus hesitant. If you look at the work of George Baselitz or like an Alfred Leslie sketch, which hopefully I'll have some images for you to look at, or even you go back to Michelangelo or a quick sketch by Da Vinci, and the confidence in those drawings, even when the proportions aren't completely correct or a little off, the confidence and the deliberateness of the line work and the attitude of that line work still makes for a good drawing. So if you make good, strong, deliberate, confident lines, you will always make good drawings. And that's what we want, is good, confident, deliberate lines. Because drawing is a little bit like dancing for the first time, like at a wedding or something like that. You got to expose a little part of yourself for the first time, and it's a little bit awkward. But if you stay confident and deliberate, you'll do great. This handout will be on canvas for you to look at, but we'll take a look at it right here. Real quick, the first thing is just holding the instrument. You see different techniques. This is a more traditional technique where you're holding it here. The biggest thing with holding your drawing instrument is to not strangle it too much, because then you'll get a cramp and you'll start to ache and you'll make bad drawings, because drawing is it's kind of a stamina-based thing. It takes work. It's physical. All right. Some people like to lose a little bit of control. They hold back here a little bit further when they're drawing. Gives them a little bit less control, so they can just kind of work through the sketch a little bit quicker and without overthinking it. Some people like to be more on the end of it like this, or more to the side of it, I guess, like this, so they can kind of measure, and then they come down and they draw a line, and then they measure and they're drawing a line, and like this. And again, you give up a little bit of control. Then when you do something more finished, you can get in there and get a little more over the top of it again. So just keep it loose in your hand, don't overgrip it, and try and play with a few different things to figure out what's most comfortable for you when it comes to drawing with a pencil or a pen. Charcoal's a little bit different. There's different ways to hold charcoal because of the different sizes and stuff that you'll be working with. Let's look at the media though that we're going to be using. We're going to be working with, I've got a Prismacolor colored pencil here, so it shows up a little bit better, but I also have a full graphite pencil here. It's a 6B. This is full graphite. You can use a wood-based graphite pencil also. For ink, I'm just using a fine point Sharpie. I also have a sign pen here. I like that with the Sharpie you have already kind of a chiseled into it for thick and thin lines. Same thing with the sign pen. It's already got kind of a chiseled end for thick and thin lines. But for the most part, we'll just be using that Sharpie right there. For charcoal, I have a compressed charcoal pencil. This is just a 2B, something with a point. And I got some compressed charcoal sticks to draw with. And I like to weave in and out of the different media as I go along. All right? When I start, I'm going to start with just like a graphite pencil, something with a sharpened point. I'm using this Prismacolor pencil so you can see it a little bit better. And when I start with something with a sharpened point, I always like to go up, you can go over to your neighbor's drawing, whatever, and I chisel the point. That way I get kind of a thick edge and I get a thin edge, a thicker edge and a thinner edge, alright? So chisel the point. Alright. First thing we're going to do, the biggest thing about when it comes to, say, drawing a line or doing any sort of drawing initially, if I say do a point A and a point B and do a line from point A to point B, I get a lot of starting and stopping and stuttering, this sort of thing, because it's not you're not confident, you're hesitant. what we want to do, and I'm going to give you a phrase that a guy named Mike Lynn created, a guy I learned to draw from, and he calls it hit, go, hit, where you emphasize the beginning and the end of the line. You hit, you go, and you hit. You hit, you go, and you hit. You hit, you go, and you hit. Hit, go, hit. And you draw it in such a confident way that you emphasize the beginning and the end, and it's a little bit fuzzy in the middle, alright? Even if we're working with ink, hit, go, hit, hit, go, hit, go, hit. Even with ink, drawn in a confident way, we get a little bit of fuzziness towards the middle, emphasizing the beginning and the end, using our whole shoulder and arm to make the drawing, not resting the wrist and arm on the page where you end up with these weird curves, alright? We want a nice straight line. Even when we're working with charcoal, we can play with the different edges of the charcoal. Hit, go, hit. Hit, go, hit. Come back across. Very confident. Little charcoal pencil, same thing. Hit, go, hit. Hit, go, hit. Very deliberate, very confident in the way we draw. Those are straight lines. Using a hit, go, hit method. Practice a bunch of those. When you've done about 10 of those, about a ½ inch apart, trying to keep them as parallel as possible, try some of these. Arcs. Still using that kind of hit, go, hit notion, but now using a little different set of muscles. Go to where it arcs over, and then switch it up. And arc under. Totally different set of muscles. Do about 10 of those each. Practice those. Try a different medium. I'm going to go right over the top of those with some ink. The ink's going to flow a little bit quicker. It's not going to grab the tooth as much of the paper as much as the graphite pencils will. Same thing. Whoa. You can really take advantage. Of the charcoal, and we can draw a little eyeball here. What? We do an upper and a lower. All right. Arcs. Straight lines. Arcs. Curving over, curving under. Practice them. Do about 10 of those. The next thing, using pencil again. Whole another set of muscles being used here. Practice some waves. So it's as if you're doing the arcs in both directions in one line. 4 or 5 in graphite. And try some ink. See how it feels different on the surface. How about some charcoal? Alright, set the charcoal on its side and draw an entire hillside. We're going to draw some ellipses. Ellipses is an ellipse is a circle kind of leaning, right? Right, a circle's kind of a circle, right? Same on the top and bottom. An ellipse has a bit of a lean to it, right? So when you look at a tire on a car in perspective, it's going to create an ellipse. So when I draw an ellipse, I'm going to chisel my point. I'm working with graphite here. I ghost it first, meaning I don't have the pencil or the pen on the page yet. I'm ghosting the motion to create the shape. I ghost it, and then when I'm ready, I put the pencil down on the page and I repeat the line. When we're doing kind of gestural, loose, confident drawing, it's okay to repeat the line. We can come back and clean it up later. When we're first thinking, we're going to ghost it. We're just thinking out loud. Don't worry about getting it perfect the first time. Repeat the line. Ghost it, then repeat the line. Ghost it. And I'm drawing these so that they line up the top and the bottom of my guideline, and then so they both hit right up, they become tangent with the last one. They touch right up on the last one. So you're trying to get a little bit of control while at the same time staying very confident, very deliberate. Now these are leaning to the right. Let's do some that lean to the left now. Different set of muscles. Ghost it. Then put the instrument down on the surface. Use your guidelines, go up against them, try to touch on the last ellipse with your next ellipse. Just like that. So you've got right leaning, left leaning. Practice those. Do about 5 or 6 rows of those. You might as well try some circles. Again, ghost it, and then put it on the surface, and then repeat the line. Having them each butt up against each other from the top and the bottom of your guidelines. Build that dexterity, build that muscle memory. Lines, arcs, waves, ellipses in both directions, circles. Gain a little bit of control, but stay loose with it. Practice these.